Aloha, mamas, and welcome to this edition of the Life Chat. So, in keeping with kind of what we talked about last time, I wonder and I imagine you're driving or sitting down or listening to this somewhere and you're in the space of your beautiful lives. And I wonder, what are you loving? What are you loving right now in your life? And how is that bringing you joy? I think a lot of times we answer this question. I know, speaking from personal experience, we draw upon what our kids are loving at the time, what our children are doing, and we fill in the space of conversations with other people in a social setting or even within our family members with updates on our children's milestones and activities and practices and what they're involved in school and extracurricular things. And this is fun, and we get to claim this. And I think it's great, obviously, but I think it also takes the trajectory away from that sense of self and of a place of nourishing us and validating ourselves. And in doing that, we're kind of training people how to treat us. I think there's a lot to that concept. I think I've alluded to that before in terms of me as a recovering people pleaser forevermore. And what I mean by that is even in our own constellations of our families of origin with our parents or our brothers and sisters that we grew up with, or people we grew up with, or our friends now, we're training them how to treat us, that when they ask us a question, how we're doing, which again, even though we're leaning into what are you loving, a lot of times we're going to be posed that question, how are you doing? And we make it about everyone around us, how everyone else is doing. And we're drawn to speaking about our children because they are who we are. And we're pouring in this season of our life, we're pouring so much into them every single day. From the moment our eyes wake up, a lot of times we are being pulled in many directions and triaging people's needs and hunger and being a line cook and getting all the things organized. And we're wonderful at this, and it's our genius zone, and that's great. And we can claim it. But I wonder how it would feel to settle into the energy of truly answering that question from a sense of how are you doing? And I feel the reason that question is challenging for me, and maybe it's true for you, is that oftentimes I'm not checking in with myself enough to know and be able to articulate that to somebody else, how I'm doing. And I think in this season, and what I want Mama Mindset to offer you, is this invitation to look into this pond of self-reflection with that question. And maybe you ask yourself that question every day, and or you lean into the question that I love so much and that I'll pose to you many times, which is, how good are you willing to let your life get? And kind of see where that takes you. These open-ended questions, you probably are familiar with that concept, but an open-ended question, great to use with your children as well, and definitely with yourself, is something like that leaves room for the imagination. It transports you into a place of wonder, and where you write the next words and you let your thoughts carry you forward. So something like that, how good are you willing to let your life get? Or how did you feel about XYZ? Instead of a closed-ended question, which will lead you down a path of a yes or no answer. So these are easier to pose oftentimes, and they're easier to answer because they rattle off your tongue, and it's just an exchange, and it's a direct line of questioning and answering. More of like a hot seat type of thing. Did you turn in your homework, or did you wake up when your alarm went off? This is a yes and no closed-ended question scenario. And those aren't wrong. Neither one of them are wrong. In the artistic space and in what I'm inviting you to drop into in Mama Mindset and within your own brilliant mama neurons in space, is open-ended questions, and asking them to yourself, posing them to yourself on a daily basis is fun and allows you to be in this playful energy. And then it naturally sort of invites you to ask open-ended questions to other people in your life. And when you ask your children open-ended questions and you really wait, you patiently wait and let them answer and articulate what they're feeling and how they're doing, it's really fascinating. And I think even if they struggle maybe to answer the question because it feels big to them, it articulates to them, it illustrates to them that you are desiring to come into their space. And I think that's so powerful. I believe I've read a quote one time, and it's something to this effect that, to be in the big moments with our children as they progress through their life, it's the willingness to be in the small moments. And I mean, you could say all moments are big moments, but you know what I mean? When they ask you to come and help them with a puzzle while you're getting dinner ready, and you kind of want to say no because you're doing a lot of things, but what if you carve out a couple seconds and go down and find that missing puzzle piece? And that intimacy that you're cultivating in all of the small moments, those are snowballing, and those are building, and that's building that trust and rapport with your children so that they're going to invite you in to their bigger emotions and as things build in their lives. And I know it's the same way with ourselves. We have this magnificent and magnetic capability of connecting to other people. It's what you were born to do. It's why you are so gifted at nurturing your children, at nourishing them, and at meeting them at various points in their life, emotionally and physically and spiritually and mentally. And you have that capacity to turn it on yourself. We oftentimes, and this is something I'm working on in my own life, we oftentimes pour so much out for other people because we love being that glue and for our family, for our children, and our partners and our spouses in that context, that we oftentimes don't have enough bandwidth left for ourselves and for what's going on. And so that's why it's difficult to answer those kind of questions. How are you doing? And we automatically start pinging and projecting that on how our children are doing and explaining ourselves in the context of everyone else. And I think this is part of the feminine energy that is beautiful, that we always envision ourselves as part of this interweb of our family constellation. I love the word constellation in the sky of our lives, in the landscape of everything that's going on. And that is truly beautiful and is reflective of our roles. But I wonder how it would feel to up level and actually validate and meet yourself authentically in how are you doing, and in learning what components are non-negotiable for you in terms of a daily nourishment. I've kind of spoken about mine are taking time to write and just allowing that free flow and stream of consciousness to come out. For me, also for me, it's getting into scripture and reading the Bible. That's really important for me. It opens up like that portal for me in a divine vertical connection that I feel. For me, it's moving intentionally. So, and recently, like I would stack my workouts on Peloton. We have had the Peloton since I think maybe August last year. I was a hard sell for some reason. My husband had wanted to get us the Peloton, and it kind of makes sense. Both of us being former Division I athletes and just always finding different competitive outlets to have the next fitness goals. And it took me so long, mamas, to grant myself the permission to walk for fun or do workout for fun. And I'm in this really expansive season where yesterday I got out our double bob and double bobs, but too, I love all these tangents that I'll go on. But I remember thinking double bobs and double strollers at some point were totally obnoxious because they're just so wide, and maybe you should get the one behind the other. There's the shooting again, but I have a double wide bob, and it is like a Cadillac of awesomeness for me. And we fit like 50 library books underneath it yesterday because we walked to the library and we walked to see Bumpy and Sarah, which are these two dinosaurs that are outside of this sciencey shop in our small town in Maui that currently my daughter's earning money so she can take a ride on. You can like ride these little dinosaurs and stuff. Anyways, this double bob is the bee's knees and I love it so much. So rewinding back to where I even started with the double bob and why I even got on that tangent. But I think coming home to how we're feeling and validating and really getting vulnerable with that and being willing to commit to ourselves. I'll refer a lot to this concept also of we are I am, and most likely you are excellent at keeping the commitments that we make to other people. If we commit to bringing our child to taekwondo or ballet class, we're on it. Every single week it's in our phone. It's already there, done. Consider it done. But keeping the commitments we make to ourselves, when the day is done, and that bookends that I talked about, where if it didn't get done in the beginning of the day before everyone was awake, or it doesn't get done at the end of the day before everyone's asleep, and that was the kind of the time that you carved out for yourself to dream, to write, to whatever. It might even be catching up on trash TV because you just needed to take a mental vacation. All of those, I think, can be nourishing and fun, and I've done all of them too. Oftentimes we struggle with keeping the commitments we make to ourselves because we haven't prioritized ourselves, and it's just not a pattern of life that we're in. And that shines forth in social conversations when people ask us how we're doing, because we don't know, because we're not checked in. We're not aligned with that compass inside. And so this is an invitation and offering to really cultivate that vital sign within yourself. Really be willing to be brave and sit with your emotions, surrender to how you are, where you are, where you want to go, where you've been, all of it. And know that you are divinely guided. You are divinely chosen. You are an amazing visionary. You are an empathic being. Oh, I think this is bringing me full circle. I knew I would if I kept live chatting with you. The amount of nurturing and nourishing, and I love the word empathic, just your ability to sense and feel what's going on in your home with the people around you, is majestic. You are a queen. We are here. I'm polishing your crown. You're polishing mine. We're all here to acknowledge that. And if you choose to place that energy back upon yourself, it is so transforming and so massively impactful. It will change the way that you view yourself, the reverence that you'll treat yourself with. And it will also help you put up sexy boundaries and interact with people in a way that trains them to treat you in a way that is reverent as well, because you're being reverent with yourself. And it has to start with our own mindset. And that's a lot about what Mama Mindset's about. We are in this season of colorful chaos. We are riding the struggle bus together. Beep, beep, or we're on it. Hop on. I'm there as well. But we also get to shine, and we also get to live into the creativity that we feel. I feel that motherhood ignites so much passion within us, so much purpose, so much conviction, and we feel stronger than ever. We know that we are created for a purpose of mothering these beautiful souls and helping shepherd them through their lives. And we find this to be such a sacred calling. We share that. This is the sacred sisterhood of that. And we get that about each other. Up leveling from there is turning this energy on ourselves, placing protective love and energy over ourselves, and validating that we do have dreams and desires that have been divinely dropped into us, and that we are going to act on those out of radical compassion for ourselves, out of joy, and out of purposeful, intentional validation of who we are, who we were, who we are, and who we're becoming. And this is exciting. It gets to be fun. We get to exist in a flow-like state and turn the passions and hobbies and things that we like to do for fun into different, it could be sources of revenue. It could be something that's part of your daily nourishing routine. But there is something, or a bunch of things that you already do naturally in your daily life that make you feel alive, that give you purpose, that make you feel connected, that bring you joy, and they bring other people joy as well. And when you start living into that more and believing that being you and showing up as who you are as a human, as a mama, as a visionary, as a creator, as a nurturer, as an empath, it's the secret sauce. And that's what I'm here doing with Mama Mindset. I think I've mentioned before that there have been thousands of mamas that I've been blessed to interact with when I worked in hospital social work before medical school, and then all through medical school. And then as a pediatrician in the hospital and as a sports medicine physician, thousands of mamas and thousands of you told me your stories and allowed me into the inner workings of your mind and how your struggles, your triumphs, the grief you were going through, the joy you felt, the confusion, the overwhelm, all of it. And those interactions, those moments were so sustaining for me, and they were so clear. This growing conviction grew within me that this was it, this mama mindset space, me surrendering what I thought my future would look like in clinical medicine as a pediatrician. It was something of bravery that I laid down the stethoscope on that portion of my life and career in order to create space to do something that was already coming naturally for me. I was already, and still am, meeting mamas in my own personal life that I've already known or that I meet along the way that I love pouring into and hearing your stories and coming alongside you as a fellow mama and human and empath. And that highlighting this superpower that we have, this Mamatuition. I thought about calling the podcast Mamatuition because I love the word so much. I believe that it is our superpower, our sixth sense that's encoded into your DNA from before you were even born as a female. And that intuition, that Mamatuition, magnifies and manifests many times over when you become a mama. And it is why, as a pediatrician, when I asked a mama and I truly meant it and I truly took the time to listen to her, and I said, you are the expert on your own child. What do you think is going on? And I could see a lot of her frustration and fear melt away because she felt validated in her role as a mama that, yes, she is the expert on her own child. And yes, she most likely had an intuition and inclination of what was going on. And when we collaborated in that sphere and in that sense, so much more fruitful clinical knowledge and information and the diagnostic odyssey for that child, in my opinion, both personally and professionally, it happened in such a more beautiful way that was satisfying to the mom and satisfying to me as a fellow mom and pediatrician. And I feel that the child got better care because everyone was working in a holistic manner. And that's one example of how I had many thousands of glimpses into Mamatuition and how powerful that was. And not only was it powerful to be able to help collaborate in the care of her child and in maximizing their experience in the medical system and helping them in their resiliency and their path to healing, but it was healing for the mama because she was validated in her role and she believed a little bit more that day that yes, that intuition, that superpower is there and it's functioning and it's on fire. And I hope to remind you of that frequently, all the time, in every life chat we have, that your intuition is your guiding light. It is your inner compass. It is your North Star. It is a benevolent force that is vertically aligned with who you are. And it is part of you as a divine being and as a mama and as a woman. And it's there to guide you. And so tuning into that and listening to that takes commitment to yourself. It takes radical compassion of you being patient with yourself and forgiving and showing yourself forgiveness, grace, and mercy for the mistakes you'll make along the way, and pivoting and just a sense that a playfulness. If you can choose to start playing around and getting playful with, what if you could never make a mistake again? What if it's all pivoting? What if the decisions that you feel are so heavy that you're making for your children, your family, for yourself, what if none of them could be wrong? It's all a learning process. It's all pivoting. And it's what I coach and talk to mamas in the postnatal period often about. And postpartum is forever, by the way, which I feel like the mission for Mama Mindset that I continue to evoke and say is that it's empowering, expecting to postpartum mamas. And I'm 5 years and 2.5 years postpartum, and it's forever that we're postpartum. And so a lot of times I'm speaking to those mamas in the prenatal period and postnatal, just around this concept of Mamatuition and leaning into it and knowing, just this inner knowing that you have always known what it takes to be this child's mother. And what if you could never make a mistake? What if you already know the way and you are surrounded by love and you are uplifted, and that your vulnerability is your currency forward. And it is my goal and mission in life, my magenda, my mom agenda. I'll always throw these words at you guys. So it is my magenda to believe in every single one of you until you believe in yourself as much as I do, and see the magnificence that emanates from you in every single way, the way that I do, the way that when I walk into every single delivery room and I see that light, that aura around you, that belief that you have been chosen, that you have been divinely ordained to be this child's mother, and that you alone possess the power to bring this being into the world, and that you tap into that intuition, into that power that you have and that creativity. And when you believe that every emotion is your teacher and that nothing is bad or wrong to feel, it doesn't make you less worthy of being a mom, and you shed those limiting beliefs. We're going to work, and work is not one of my favorite words. We're going to consciously make the effort to drop those limiting beliefs and to face the things that we all face: the mom guilt, the mom shame, the comparison. We take a lot of compare shots. We're gonna dismantle those all along the way together. And I'm so excited to do that, because those obstacles and barriers, there's not one of us mamas that can say that we don't face those. And I don't think that there's something we are ever cured of, but it's something that we cultivate an awareness around, so that we are like our inner mean girl voices. We're aware of that inner dialogue more. And we will do things out of radical compassion and love for ourselves. Like we'll curate our social media consumption, for example. So maybe you haven't done it in a while on your Instagram or Facebook, but consider, if that's important to you, spending time on social media to curate your own museum, meaning what kind of artwork and what kind of creativity and what kind of vibes do you want to consume when you are spending your precious time scrolling. So ensure that it's scrolling to serve your soul. I'll talk a whole lot more about this. And I have actually written a blog about it on mamamindset.com in the past. I'm just huge on it. I think that you do a lot of creating in your life. Could be creating schedules, creating in the kitchen, creating a beautiful home, creating around the board table, the boardroom, or in your professional career. Or it could just be creating for yourself. And I'm in a season of that's a really cool submission and surrender that has brought forth Mama Mindset, is just creating for the sake of creating. Our children do it all the time. And we validate that in young childhood. We love it. We love the medium of play, and that is, we know and accept that that's their natural mode of communication. And I don't think that ever truly goes away. It just becomes less socially acceptable as we age. And the inner child in all of us seeks to be validated, and it's reinvigorated as a mother, because we're constantly barraged and seeing it every day in our children, and where we are impacted by the joy and the liberty, and just the unbridled enthusiasm and curiosity with which they approach the world. And it invites us back into that energy for ourselves and to interact with our children. And so what if you chose to be in a place of curiosity and fascination and flow again in your life, and you got fascinated by the emotions that come forward? So when you're feeling anxious or fearful or sad or depressed, or any of those emotions that we tend to label as wrong, and we are afraid to confront them because we feel afraid that something might be wrong, and so we don't allow them. We just push them aside, or we just pretend like they don't even exist. And that neglecting of that is a neglecting of part of ourselves. So what if you got a more playful and curious? And it's something that, like I was saying, I coach moms in the postpartum period around this. It is very empowering to do so, because when you name your emotions and you call them out and you give them credibility and you ask them what they're there to teach you, it's kind of like naming your monsters. They're not lurking in the shadows anymore. They're not tormenting you in the background anymore. When they're named and when they are acknowledged, they lose their power over you. And I want nothing to have power over you anymore, aside from your own chosen power, your superpower, and your mama intuition, and the power that you're going to speak over yourself every single day with affirmations, which, by the way, if you haven't seen my affirmations, you can go download them for free. That's at the top bar on mamamindset.com. I'm huge on affirmations. I like to call them afformations because they're for you. And this internal dialogue that you can cultivate with yourself is so powerful. It will transform your life. We've touched on it in previous life chats that we've had around, I think the first one we talked about, the episode 1, we talked about playing around with dropping the shoulds and then need tos. So like pivoting from I should be doing this to I choose to do this. I get to do this. For me, it could be something like, oh, I really need to work out today. It's 7 p.m. and I still need to work out. And it's really deflating energy to even say that. It's just low vibe. It's not fun. And it just feels heavy. And then when I instead pivot into I get to work out today. I get to move my body in a way that feels reverent. Ooh, and I think I was talking about this earlier today with Peloton, that I was a hard sell on the Peloton, and my husband had been like advocating and trying to pitch it to me for a long time. And we finally got it, and I totally love it. And I was for a while stacking the workouts. And but recently I've just been tuning into my intuition of what does my body need today? Taking inventory and thinking, do I feel kind of tired and fatigued today? So a yoga, like a restorative yoga and a meditation or a stretching class would be really rejuvenating and restorative. And that might be the best way to serve my body. Or do I want to have like a tougher bike boot camp workout where I'm super sweaty and just feeling my strength? And it's been really fun for me because my son and daughter will pop in sometimes when I'm working out, and I'm speaking life and love over my body and saying, look at mommy, I'm so strong right now. And I'm here in my postpartum body with my diastasis recti that I've been trying to heal for 5 years. And I know, instead of judging myself and all of the curves and folds and extra skin and doming abdomen, I'm speaking life and love into myself and moving with intention. And in whatever way that looks for you, it's reverent and it gets to be fun. And so kind of connecting back to my example was I should work out or I need to work out, but instead I get to work out. I choose to work out. So really empowering yourself with that language. And I'm so excited to see how that lands upon your soul and how you will germinate so much in the garden of your soul when you are giving it that positive fertilizer of positive self-talk. And so, you can get those affirmations or make up your own, but really tuning in to your internal dialogue and what that looks like and how you're speaking to yourself is extremely powerful, mama. And it will help connect you to the intuition, the mamatuition that lives inside you, that you've heard her before. It's just, she gets muted a lot in the context and the climate of our life every single day. And so we are going to really learn to tune into that mamatuition here at Mama Mindset, and to cultivate an awareness of when we are dropping into judgment mode on ourselves, when we are dropping into mom shame or mom guilt or taking too many compare mode shots, and when that energy is coming upon us and what that does to us. And that is a source that gets to be a source of joy and pride and strength, so that you can be proud of yourself when you're noticing those moments, because there have been thousands before in your life as a mom where you didn't realize that they were happening. It was an insidious thing. And I feel convicted that that's happening a lot in motherhood and to us as mamas. And it is clouding our mama mindset, and it is taking us further away from our intuition, from that vertical alignment, and from our creativity and who we were meant to be and how we were meant to serve ourselves, our families, and other people. And in a world where there is so much going on, so much inflammatory things in the world, as well as the daily, not grind because we choose to be in it, but the daily routine and needs that we triage for our children and those around us. And then all that we're taking on from social media and society, it's no wonder that we're kind of getting buried in all of that. And so the way the tides turn and the way that it all pivots is a conscious choice that you are worth it, a belief that you can create the life you want to live, not tomorrow, not in 5 years, but today. You get you choose to create the life you want to live now. You get to ask yourself every single day the question, how good am I willing to let my life get? And you have the opportunity to invite yourself into a place of emotional neutrality to really feel connected to yourself and to your dreams and desires, and to really feel peace. And that is my biggest desire for you, is to go from a place of overwhelm to peace. We will all feel overwhelmed. It's not something that we will like be cured of or never feel again. But if when we cultivate that inner sanctuary in our Mamatuition, in our place, we can return home to that place of peace whenever, and that we're going through the day and things are getting chaotic. And that is a source of everlasting change and transformation. And that is so impactful. And it will not only transform your life, but it will enhance your bond, the maternal infant bond, the maternal child bond, and all of the intimate bonds that you have with your partners and in your family. And so choosing to invest in yourself, choosing to believe that you're worthy by spending time with yourself, by intentionally nourishing yourself with those things. For me, like I was saying, it's intentional movement, writing, journaling, reading, connecting with people. Those building blocks, those non-negotiables that you decide to insert into your day are everything. And it kind of leaves me speechless, because one of the biggest things about mama mindset, and that I learned by watching and observing thousands of mamas, and the more time I spend with mamas coaching in my personal life, the more I see it illustrated that you have all the tools. I'm not here to, I will tell you about like all the things I'm reading, and we'll share all those things in live chats, but truly you have everything it takes to heal yourself and to live the life you want to live. You are a magnificent, perfect being that is only growing in her strength and her dignity and her courage and her sense of majesticness and magnetism every single day. So you have everything. I see it. I know it. You know it. It's connecting to her. It's being willing to get still and surrender and listen and trusting yourself, trusting your own intuition. And another little sip before we go about the rest of our day or night, whenever you might be listening. And by the way, thank you again. The gratitude for me is so abundant that you would choose to spend your precious time. I do think time is the greatest gift you can give someone, in investing in yourself right now, not just listening to me, but I hope going internally and really seeking out your heart and your soul and your beautiful and brilliant neurons about and around how I hope these words kind of provoke that sense within you. But the last little step I want to kind of touch on is decision fatigue. I think I was talking about this with a really good friend from childhood when I was last home in Florida, about this concept of decision fatigue, and that we make, if someone was to be scribing for us all day long, probably thousands of decisions every day, thousands. From the time we wake up, we're probably, one of the first things we do when our eyes are open is we're making decisions. What should we do first, second, third, fourth, fifth? And if you think about it, at any moment at any given part of the day, you're probably triaging a dozen decisions and you're prioritizing what order you want to get those done in. And it's not only decisions that are going around for you, but it's all the little people that you're taking care of. And probably even, your spouse or partner or even your parents and other people that are in your immediate sphere. And that's all part of your nurturing and your empath in the empath within you. And that is powerful and that is good. And it's up-leveling all of those around you. Decision fatigue sets in when you have used so much of your precious, powerful mental bandwidth to make these decisions throughout the day, that there is a fatigue that sets in, just like anything else, just like in our muscles. When you do a hard workout, you reach that lactic acid threshold and that fatigue. And maybe it's not as quantifiable in a mental sense, but we do reach a capacity of, and where, the day, as I know for me, evening comes in, and maybe for you it's dinner, and you've just made so many thousands of decisions, micro decisions throughout the day, that by the time you get to dinner, you don't even really want to make any more decisions. And so then the creative juices that might have happened after dinner, they're not anywhere to be found, because you don't want to make any more decisions. And that's probably even why you spend 45 minutes on Netflix, not deciding what to watch, because decisions, you're tired of making them. And so what I think the invitation and the offer is here is noticing, what decisions can you choose to release from needing to make? What workarounds in your life or ways can you make things more efficient, so that places where you're expending powerful, valuable energy can be conserved, so that you can use that on creative outlets for yourself that are nourishing and up-leveling and fulfilling. And just play around with that. Start small, maybe just in the bookends of your day. For example, you could take the first 30 minutes of your day and the last 30 minutes of your day, and notice like the difference in that energy, or what you can put in those spaces, to just take decision fatigue out of the way. Or it could be in the middle of the day, whatever place. Maybe just start noticing where there are pockets of your day that you're having to make a lot of decisions that maybe you don't have to make. And where can you conserve that, so that you're not experiencing as much decision fatigue, and you can then pour that energy into intentional activities. Like maybe meal planning is your thing. I'm still like, I don't know how I feel about meal planning. Like I've done it sometimes, but then it feels like a chore, and I just want some freedom. So I don't know how I feel about meal planning yet, but if you have good ones, maybe let me know. It could be around everybody's schedules, or getting lunches done, or emails. Or for me, decision fatigue was lessened when I turned off all my notifications on my phone. I was like, I don't need, like different inflammatory news articles to pop up. Like if I want to know what's going on, like I'll intentionally go and read, the news from several different sources. So that's one way I think is massive for people. And I would encourage you to kind of consider that, because those push notifications are sent to you. You didn't ask for them, but they're coming, right? And they're bombarding your mental neurons. And so then you're faced with the decision of like, what are you going to do with that piece of information? How are you going to allow it to make you feel? And what are you going to do from there? Like someone liked your photo. I mean, you can go and visit social media and find out who liked your photo, but do you need to know minute by minute, like what's happening? And if that is what you need, then, or what you decide, again, need what you choose, then great. But for me, I was just like, notifications are gone. And that freed up some mental capacity so that I could choose then to how I spent my time. I also programmed my phone and put different things on different pages, so that I had to scroll a little bit farther to find, my social media or my mail, and kind of batched. I think I even turned up my notifications for mail, so that I can refresh my mail and check it a couple times a day. So I just batch that, instead of like, oh, look, there's a new email from Old Navy that I get $5 off again. Like they send so many emails, right? Or whatever you're subscribed to that sends a lot of emails. So it's just a playful energy. I'm just inviting you to think about where in your day or in your life can you streamline things, so that you're saving some of that. And again, you do have infinite amount of energy as a mom, but I want you to learn to, as I am still learning, all of us are, let's commit to this path together for ourselves, streamlining our mental energy so that we have that creative flow for ourselves, and we can choose to nourish ourselves in whatever dreams and passions and desires have been divinely dropped into us. And we can bring those to life. This is what Mama Mindset is. That's the product of me believing my worth, that I can serve you, that I get to serve you, that I choose to serve you and myself, and coming here authentically, vulnerably, and sitting down. It's after midnight. I'm filming this, but it's fun. It gets to be fun for me. And I'm so grateful that you're allowing me to be my genius zone with this. And I can't wait to see what it is that you will create when you align yourself with your Mamatuition, when you learn to recognize and allow all of your emotions as teachers. And when you also create that awareness around mom shame, mom guilt, compare mode, the judgments that you put on yourself, and around the decision fatigue in your life, and you release some of that, you subtract some of it. I think there's so much expansiveness that's going to occur, I know, in your life when you get brave and you choose to invest in yourself and you choose to cultivate your awareness on all of these things. So as it always is, it's so fun to get to sit down and have these life chats with you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for choosing yourself today. You can find me at www.mamamindset.com, or you can email me your thoughts around this or how you're doing at aloha@mamamindset.com. I'm also putting these, their audio. You can listen to this audio on the different streaming platforms for podcasts, or I'm putting the video forms on YouTube as well, because I'm coming here and shining it out as promised to myself, keeping the promise and commitment that I made to myself, that I was going to sit down without any agenda, without anything pre-scripted or written, and that I wasn't going to edit this. And I was just going to shine out for you guys, girls, ladies, women. It's not guys. We're all, I mean, there might be some guys, but this is for mama mindsets. So it's for you, women, visionaries, fellow empaths. And it gets to be fun. And I'm so excited you're here and that we are on this journey, cultivating our mindsets together and growing into that ever expansive energy that already exists within us, that was there from the moment before we were even born, that Mamatuition that is in you. And I'm so excited to see where yours leads you. And please reach out. I love to hear from you. I really do. It is my love language, is words of affirmation, being here for myself, for you. And also letting me know what else you might want to talk about on these live chats. Otherwise, I just come and deliver, and I'm going to have a lot of fun dialogues with other mamas that I know and that I have yet to meet that will be on here. So I look forward to all of those things. I hope you have a beautiful and blessed day. Much aloha, mama.